Congratulations, you got a puppy. Nutrition is key for a healthy, happy pup. Even with the best diets, puppies may lack all the vital nutrients they need. Standard processed veterinary formulas help to fill those nutritional gaps. Our products work at the cellular level for tip-top health. Our supplements are based on whole food ingredients. We grow more than 80% of raw plant ingredients on our own certified organic farm. These whole food ingredients are the same ones that go into our human products, too. Adding a pup to the family is the beginning of a special journey. Make standard processed veterinary formulas and proper nutrition a key part of your pup's long, healthy life. Join the Pup Club today.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to day 2 of PAWmicon. We are so excited to be beginning our panels for today. We're going to be starting with our superhero pets panel. That's rescue pets performing heroic acts. We know some pets do this every day, and some pets have some incredible stories of literally saving lives. Our moderator this morning is Megan Perry. She is the morning and midday weather anchor at 10 News in San Diego. She's become a dear friend of the center over the past couple years. She has an incredible history of volunteering for animal rescue organizations. She's hosted pet fashion shows. Last year, she was so gracious and emceed our Spring Fling Gala and judged our Paws Play contest at PAWmicon. So we're so grateful for her. She's the proud mom of 3 incredibly cute, there's one of them, cute pups. And she actually started a weekly pet adoption segment at 10 News, which we've been so excited to be a part of. So overall, she's an amazing advocate for orphan pets, and we're so grateful to be friends with her. And Megan, thank you so much. I'll let you take it away.
Thanks, Fernanda. I'm so gracious for everything that you guys do, the Helen Woodward Animal Center, for all of the pets. And I know that this year is a little different because we have to go virtual, but it's all for a good cause. And you guys, I'm very impressed with everything that you guys have done to keep moving forward. We're still doing Pet of the Week segments. In fact, this Friday, Helen Woodward Animal Center will have a Pet of the Week on our station, ABC 10 News at 11 a.m. So you don't want to miss out on that. I love that you have kept adoptions going and all of the all the efforts you've done to feed pets in this pandemic from people that might need it. So I'm very super excited to be part of the Helen Woodward Animal PAWmicon. Yet last year I did get to judge, and that was very difficult. So this one's a little bit easier, and I love that we get to talk to some super pets that have done some amazing things. And then there are pet moms and dads. All right, so our superhero pets panelists, we are going to kick it off with Robin Cohen, who started working at the Helen Woodward Animal Center in January of 1992 after graduating right here from UCSD with a degree in cultural anthropology. In April of 1994, she was promoted to the Pet Encounter Therapy Manager position, which has brought together her love of animals and people. So Robin, do you want to tell us a little bit about what you do and your little furry friend there?
Yes, so I have been incredibly lucky the last 28 years of working at the center. I came here in 92 and absolutely fell in love with the mission of animals helping people and people helping animals. And then I was lucky enough to find my life's passion, which is the Pet Encounter Therapy program, where we bring animals to people in need in skilled nursing facilities, hospitals, children's facilities, working with clients dealing with mental health. And we bring that unconditional love and beauty of animals to people in need. And this is one of my fabulous family members, but he's also a therapy dog in the Pet Encounter Therapy program. This is Mr. Baloney. And let me see if I can wake him up for a couple seconds. He's wearing his little Superman jacket. But Baloney, I adopted him at 11 and a half years old. He started in the program a few months later. He just turned 16. He's been working ever since.
Oh, well, happy birthday, Baloney. I love your superhero cape. You are a superhero. All right, our next panelist that is here with us today is Chris Kremers. I hope that I pronounced that right. But despite being very small, she has a little friend named Pinky, and Pinky's heart is extraordinary. A couple years ago, Pinky and her mom, Chris Kremers of San Diego, were in a store when 5 armed robbers came in. And why don't you just tell us about this really unbelievable story? I can't imagine going through what you went through and how Pinky really helped you through it.
Sure. First of all, I'd just like to say thank you so much for having us here. This is an amazing opportunity. Well, 2 years ago, Pinky and I were at a store, and it was just a normal day, and all of a sudden it was being robbed. And Pinky, and like just out of the blue, like there was no reason for her to be with me that day, but she was there that day, and she kept me so calm and so like in a Zen-like state. She was such a good girl. She laid underneath me for the whole 20 minutes that it took for this robbery, and she didn't bark. She didn't make any noises. She just like kept me in a state of calm. I mean, I'm sure Robin can understand how that can happen. And it was just unbelievable. And since that happened and the PTSD that came along with it, she's helped me through that immensely, daily.
Yeah, I can't even imagine going through something like that. I obviously it clearly changed you. Have you noticed a different behavior in Pinky ever since that event?
Definitely. She's so much more attached to me. She was attached to me before, but now she's like always looking out for me and always wondering like where I'm at. She's just always like underfoot or up by my head if I'm laying down, if I'm sitting down. She's just always next to me at all times now.
That's amazing. Is she your only pet? Do you have any other animals?
I have 3 cats.
Okay.
I have 3 cats. I have a 13-year-old, a 10-year-old, and a 6-year-old. And they're awesome.
How does she act around them? Does she feel very protective of them as well?
She's a little bit shy around the cats. I think that when I'm not home, they kind of might test her boundaries. So when I'm home, she kind of does the walk around the cats.
I think we can all relate to that.
When I've been around.
We've all kind of had pets like that, where it's like some of them are dominant and some of them are a little submissive.
Yeah, for sure. But she's definitely a superhero pet. She's the best.
Yeah. Oh, look at her. She heard us talking about her. She's like, what? She needs some FaceTime.
Yeah.
And our final panelist today is Stacy Agan. She is a registered veterinary technician and veterinary assistant instructor at Pima Medical Institute. She's a volunteer search and rescue dog handler and also operates the Golden Hearts Animal Sanctuary, a rescue focused on senior and special needs animals. So it says here you have Dan, Walker, and Frog. I'm assuming those are animals that have now joined your family. Is that correct?
Yes, they are. Thank you very much for inviting us. This is wonderful. Dan is asleep in the pineapple behind me, and Frog is off doing his own thing. But yes, they are both my therapy cats working with the PET program. And each one of them has their own special needs. And through the rescue, that's how they joined our family.
And how is it for them to be a pet therapy animal?
They really enjoy it. They enjoy the contact with people through our visits that we're doing currently. Through the window, we watch the cats actually trying to interact, trying to get up close to the glass, and they can hear the humans on the other side, but they can't quite understand why they can't touch them face to face. But that interaction and that joy that they bring is just amazing.
So I'm assuming you're talking about right now through the pandemic. You've had to
right. Yeah.
So how does that work? Where is the glass? How far do you go? Tell us about what it's like to be doing that now.
That's Robin.
If you want, I can talk about it. So, when all of this started in our community and in our world, it was a real thought of, my gosh, how are we going to reach our clients? Because the whole reason we do pet encounter therapy is to bring that touch and that tactile benefits of animals. And we really have found some creative ways to reach out to people. And what Stacy was talking about is we visit through the window. And what's so beautiful is we have found that the connection between the animal and the clients that we work with goes way beyond the touch. It's being seen, being cared about, having that connection even through the glass. And she was talking about with Mr. Frog, who went out, her beautiful cat. This gentleman had been asking for a cat to come and visit, and it's rare for cats to work in this kind of work because of the car ride. They're not big fans of the car, so you really have to have a cat that, doesn't mind going in the car. And this gentleman had been asking for a year and a half for a cat to come and visit, and Mr. Frog, happily obliged. He came out, and the man was so excited, and he just kept thanking her and blessing her. And Frog leaned against the glass where he had his hand up, petting the glass, and was leaning into it like that connection was there and the glass wasn't.
Aw.
And so that's the beauty of what these animals offer, and that it really is quite heroic because they're able to heal with just being them, by accepting the people for just being them.
Absolutely. That's the best thing about pets. They love you unconditionally. No matter what happens, they're there for you. They are superheroes. Absolutely. All right, Chris. So we heard that your dog is a superhero. How else, or what other ways would you say that little Pinky there is a superhero? Is he just, oh wait, sorry. Obviously, how is she a pet assisted therapy, or does she kind of just sit on her little couch there and make you happy?
Well, she was a service dog. She was originally my aunt's dog, and my aunt passed away 5 years ago and left her to me which was such a shock because I was not a dog person. I was a cat person. I've only had cats my whole life. So when she left me this dog, my first inclination was like, I can't keep the dog. My life doesn't consume like dogs. I can't do this. And reluctantly, I kept the dog, and it's just become, I think I've completely untrained her from being a service dog. She was like really, really well trained, but she's still trained. She just isn't in service now. She's like a retired dog. But I would love to get her back into service, back into helping people. She's 13 years old and she's spry. She just had leg surgery on her back legs, and now she's back into like 100% perfect mode.
That's very exciting. She's there. She was the hero underneath the cloak. She's like, you know what? I put up my cape for a little bit.
Yeah.
And when you needed her, she was right there.
Yeah, she is. She's always right there.
Yeah, I love it.
I think animals love to have a purpose. And her purpose that day was to save you and to keep you centered and to keep you safe. And now you say she's always underfoot because she's like, okay, my job is to keep my mom, as happy and as healthy as possible. And that's what, with the therapy dogs, with search and rescue, with service dogs, they just want to love you, keep you safe, serve the family in a way that keeps everybody happy and healthy. And it's beautiful. They give of themselves completely.
Oh, it's crazy. The connection that I have with this animal is just insane. It's something that I never thought in my life that I would ever have. I was always the adamant person that was like, dog schmogs. That's just not going to happen for me. And then now my friends make fun of me because I have a stroller, I have clothes, I have, it's like, they're just like, what happened to you?
You know what? They say that the animal chooses you. So
Yeah,
Sure.
Speaking of search and rescue, Stacy, you are involved in search and rescue. Tell us a little bit about how that, maybe some of your experiences that you've gone through, some of the unique ones, kind of what that's like to do that.
Oh, wow. If you enjoy waking up at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, leaving your nice, okay, leave your comfy warm bed in the pouring rain and go look for that missing individual and reunite him with his family, then search and rescue is a great place to be. With regard to the dogs, again, as Robin was saying, they like to have a purpose. I have 2 dogs working right now. One is 15, and you cannot tell a 15-year-old border collie, oh, you're retired, you don't have to go out anymore. That just doesn't happen. So she does limited duty, and my 8-year-old Australian Shepherd does the bulk of the work. But they enjoy search and rescue as a game. They enjoy the human interaction at the end. They enjoy that camaraderie with us as handlers, and there's that same connection that you would have with, I think, any other service animal, because you're with each other in pretty extreme circumstances sometimes.
Yeah, how did you know that those dogs would be good to do that and then get them signed up to go be heroes like that? Like I have 3 tiny dogs, so and they love to just sit. They're more like Kiki, they want to be on top of the couch, so they're not going to be signing up to go save anybody anytime soon. But how did you know that those dogs were?
I've been a handler for, oh my goodness, a very long time. Over 20 years. Don't do the math. And I picked one of the dogs I picked, but then my border collie is actually a rescue dog. She came from a shelter in Utah. And the dogs experience it as a hide and seek game. And so that's how we know to pick the dog, is whether that dog enjoys playing that game. It's easy to pick the dog. It's harder to find the handler to work with the dog, because the dedication on the human end is quite great. We're all volunteers, from the purchase of the dog and the equipment to that joy or reluctance, if you will, to get up out of your nice warm bed in the pouring rain, to help someone in need.
Yeah, absolutely. What's the craziest search and rescue that you've had to go out on?
Probably my most memorable were 2. There was one where I had the opportunity to fly with the Civil Air Patrol to Yosemite and search for 3 days, a very long time ago. And then also a full moon search out in Anza Borrego. And it was just beautiful. It was, you needed no flashlights, and those were some really beautiful moments. If there can be beauty in those particular circumstances, yeah.
Yeah, it's out there, it's quiet. Chris, so we know your dog's a hero. How can I ask, if you don't mind, how did the robbery end up? Was anybody hurt? You obviously were able to walk away, but you have some PTSD, and your little dog there was definitely a huge help there. But just how did everything turn out?
Well, unfortunately, not everybody was as lucky as I am. A couple people did get hurt in the robbery, and they did catch the people. So right now, there's actually a trial going on right now for 3 of the 5 suspects. So they have 3 incarcerated right now.
Wow. Well, I'm very grateful that Piki was there for you to kind of keep you calm. I can't imagine going through something like that, but being able to have somebody so close to you right there.
Yeah.
How do you think that, I mean, you've already said that you're very bonded. Do you think that has changed your relationship with anything else in life?
After the robbery, I think it changed my relationship with everything else. It was such an eye-opening experience of how quick you could be gone. And it was just, it was overwhelming. I came out of it the next day, and I knew that there was something wrong mentally. I knew I wasn't the same exact person I was the day before. And so I immediately called my psychiatrist, and I was like, I need to see you and see a psychologist, so that I can start working these things out. And I started seeing somebody, and I've seen somebody every week for the last 2 years. And it's been amazing. It's been a journey, and I've turned into a better, more loving person than I was before that situation happened.
That's a nice end of the story to hear. I speak the world of therapy. It has changed my life as well. So I'm glad that you were able to go get help. Robin, so tell us about some of the experiences that you've had with volunteering and taking your little one. Do you volunteer just with Baloney, or do you have other dogs or other animals? Tell us.
I actually have 2 therapy dogs in the program, but I work at the center. So I'm really lucky that I get to do this amazing work and actually have it as my job, which is really great. But, kind of starting off with a little bit of Baloney's story, he actually was abandoned in a parking lot at 11 and a half years old. And the center took him in, and he needed to be fostered for a couple of days before we could put him up for adoption. And I said I'd foster him for a few days, and that was 4.5 years ago. And I fell in love with this little guy and adopted him. And the reason that I bring that up is you know, we're talking about all these amazing animals that do heroic things. And I think one of the most heroic, amazing things they do and inspiring things is overcoming what happens to them, what brings them into rescue, life experiences that they've gone through. And here was this dog that was left in a parking lot. He was very ill. I think his owners, they left a note, they loved him very much. They just fell on hard times in their life. But he got past all of these experiences and was very frightened when I got him, very frightened of kids, very frightened of people, and blossomed into this incredible therapy dog. So he's kind of a hero, you know, in my eyes, because he was able to get past that. Sometimes, you know, Chris was talking about the trauma that she went through and the difficulty she had getting past it. And I think there are some beautiful lessons in the fact that animals live in the moment and often show us the way to kind of live our best lives, even with what we've experienced in life. So he went from being that kind of hero to now doing the therapy work. And, you know, he has gone to skilled nursing facilities. He works with hospice, with children, with teens, loves everybody. But probably one of my most memorable times with him was a woman who had a request for hospice. She was close to starting to transition to passing away, had no mobility. And we asked if she wanted to see the dog, and she nodded her head, but she was in a position that was very difficult for her to kind of stretch apart. So he just laid on her chest, kind of next to her arms and legs that were curled up. And the only thing she said the entire visit was, when I would say, "Is he too heavy?" And she'd yell at me, "No." And then she would say his name, Baloney. And so whenever I'd say, do you want me to take him away? No. And then she'd just repeat Baloney. And those were the only words she really spoke. So the fact that he was able to bring her comfort in those last moments is the definition of a hero, a healing hero. So, I mean, as you can tell, I think it's kind of the best stuff since sliced bread.
Yeah, my little dog here, this is Baby. I've got 3 little dogs. This little one, they're all rescues, but this little one definitely, he also just turned 16 last month. But he had a similar story. Like, I adopted him from the Orange County Animal Shelter, and he had matted fur. They had to, like, you know, shave it all off of him. He was super skinny, terrified of everything, very protective of his food. And he has become this little sweetheart, at least to the people that he lives with. I will say he's very protective of us, but it is pretty amazing what they can overcome and what they can do. And it's astonishing that your dog, little Baloney there, had such a rough upbringing, and is now a therapy animal. I mean, that is jaw-dropping. It is pretty incredible what they're able to, and look at him, he's just sitting there, just happy as a clam. So that is pretty amazing. Stacy, are your cats rescue cats?
They are. They each have their own story that kind of falls right in line with being amazing superheroes and being able to overcome what they had as a rough start. Dan Walker, who's, you know, asleep in the pineapple, he actually came from a rescue organization over in Tijuana, and he has no back feet, no back legs. He was found dragging himself across the street in whatever, you know, neighborhood he was in. The rescue took him in, and they were concerned that what had happened to him was actually abuse. And so they asked our rescue if we would take him on because he had 2 bloody stumps. So we took him in. We did a lot of work to figure out that no, this is actually, he was born this way, that those were not man-made injuries, thank goodness. And we just from the start noticed that he didn't care that he was bloody and oozy. And I mean, I would be asking for pain medicine, and he was purring. He was wanting that human interaction anyway. So right from the start, I had already been working with the PET program with my Golden, and I said, "Hey, Robin, I think there might be a cat that might be a good fit." And we did some work and some socializing and found that 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 was actually the case. In Frog's circumstance, Frog was found by another veterinary technician that I know, that I know out in San Pasqual Valley next to the Wild Animal Park as a stray kitten, a single stray kitten. And he has a genetic defect, an orthopedic defect, so each half of his pelvis moves independently of each other. So he doesn't walk like a normal cat. He squats as he walks. So that's how he earned the name Frog. But he is also just a love, just really very connected to people and wants that interaction regardless of what's going on with him. So
that's pretty amazing. And one of my dogs, Coco, she volunteers at the San Diego Humane Society, and she goes and brings people joy, and it's therapy for both of us. You know,
yeah.
You can relate that, you know, when you go make somebody else happy because they're just seeing your dog or petting your dog, it makes you just feel good inside, and it makes you so happy. I know you mentioned this, that cats are not often known as therapy animals. How many cats do you have at the center that are therapy animals?
We have 3 cats in the program, and you know, cats can make phenomenal therapy animals, but it really is the car ride. When people think about cats, it's like, oh, do they scratch? Is there allergies? And the allergies can be a concern, but we're always careful to ask to make sure that we're not bringing them into a room that somebody may have an allergic reaction. But it's really that car ride and that comfort outside of their environment. You know, dogs are so often brought out into the community and have more comfort in new situations, but cats usually live in their home, and that's their place. They feel safe. But with Dan and Frog, it's so wonderful because, one, we get these requests for cats, and to see people light up when we can bring them in, but also because they have, you know, special needs, that inspiration of, you know, the kids. Dan Walker has visited many children at different community shelters here in San Diego, and to see that inspiring when they see that he was born without back feet but embraces life completely. So it's the tactile benefits of touching, but also just hearing their story. And sometimes the kids will actually talk about their own stories because they feel like Dan's going to understand because he had a rough start as well. So their stories can help that connection. Absolutely. You know, and I'm sure you found that when you've been volunteering, is that when somebody hears your animal story, they feel like they can share and open up about their story.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've been at the shelter just for like a fur fix where it's like people just can come and they can pet their dogs. And I met one woman who had just lost her dog, and she just started crying, and I hugged her and we had this moment, and it was really special. And she said, I've just been coming here looking, I'm not ready yet, but I've been looking. And like, I think it was a year, it might've actually been 2 years later, I was there with Coco again, and she was there, and she came in and she saw a dog that happened to be on our Pet of the Week segment. She didn't see it on there, but she, like, I had met the dog, fell in love with the dog, and she actually adopted that dog that day. And it made me cry. I'm tearing up now just thinking about it, that, you know, it comes full circle. You don't know what somebody's going through. And Chris, do you go out with your dog just out and about often?
I take Pinky everywhere, like literally everywhere.
And look at him, he or her. I don't know why I keep calling him him. But
yeah, her pink ears.
She is passed out.
She's got pinky.
Passed out. Yeah, she goes everywhere with me. She is such a good dog. She is originally, when she was trained, she was a diabetic alert dog.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so she was trained to do all these amazing things, and I wish that, I mean, now it's like I wish that I could like keep her in somehow doing these things, but she's just but she goes everywhere because she has her service papers, so she's allowed to go everywhere. I take her everywhere. Car.
I can imagine she's absolutely adorable. She's all dressed up. She's got her little pink ears. I mean, without even saying anything to anybody, I'm sure that she makes everybody's day when she walks by. But I'm sure a lot of people stop you and want to pet her. And tell us kind of what that's like, and how that makes you feel, how it makes Pinky feel, and how it makes them feel.
So we originally started doing pink ears in October for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And we did it because we saw that a lot of people would stop us and ask us like, oh my gosh, like she has pink ears, she has pink ears. And then it would immediately give me an opening to say like, hey, it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. You should go get your breast checked. And then it's like, it turned into this whole conversation. And it was like an icebreaker. And I was always trying to come around ways to get that out there. And then this was like the perfect way to do it. And so it kind of extended from October to November to December. And then her name is Pinky, and it's just like, it's perfect for her. And, but we get stopped a lot. People want to take pictures with her like all the time. People want to say like, my daughter can't believe it, or how did you get her ears pink? And we do a vegan root, like a beetroot extract, and we do it here at home.
That's amazing. So the pink ears were not just because of her name. They actually are helping support breast cancer awareness. How did that start?
It was just one October. I got her 5 years ago, and I was always trying to think of like different ways to I'm always trying to think of different ways to promote awareness, whatever it is. And this particular time was Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And I was thinking like, gosh, I've always wanted to like dye my dog, and I've never, dye this dog. And so I just decided, I was like, I'm going to dye her ears pink, and I'm going to see if it does anything, if it makes a difference. And it made such a difference. People would stop, and they would, every single day I was letting awareness out there every single day. And it was just like the conversations would go from just, it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and then it would go into in depth, like, hey, you should get you should go get your mammogram done. It was like, it was just, it was beautiful, actually.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. You have no idea. There could have been somebody that went and got an exam like that day or the following day. So you and Pinky could have saved somebody's life. So that's pretty amazing that you just decided to do that on your own. Pretty inspirational, pretty heroic, I would say.
So now it's like when people ask us about the pink ears, I premise it with the fact that we started it for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So we're just continuing Breast Cancer Awareness Month for the rest of the year.
Yeah, no, I like that. And it gets the conversation going. It opens people up. And, a lot of people have a story that has to do with breast cancer or some type of cancer. So, and it's kind of therapeutic talking about it, and it bringing it up kind of releases the stigma about it and everything. So that's wonderful that you did that.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So Stacy, tell us, so you said that you're a handler for 2 dogs, and then you have 2 cats. Do the dogs live with you as well?
Right, we own our own dogs. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So there's 4 of you. How do they're all hero dogs, or pets, I should say. 2 hero dogs, 2 hero cats. So it's pretty, you've got a superhero family over there. How do they all interact together? What's it like living with, you guys are like the Incredibles over there.
The cats, Mark, surprisingly, rule the roost. The dogs take a wide berth around them whenever possible.
That's amazing. And what about you, Robin? You have Baloney there and 1 other dog. Remind me, did you say he volunteers as well?
Yes, and actually I'll switch him real quick so you can meet Mr. Henry. Henry, come in. It may take him a couple seconds. He's older too. I only like to rescue the older dogs. Come here, handsome.
Honestly, adopting a senior dog is wonderful. They're usually so grateful that you adopted them, and a lot of times they're housebroken, and they're I adopted a puppy once, and it took months to potty train. So
I love the older dogs. Henry was 8 and a half, we think. We don't know for sure, when his owner passed away very suddenly. So he found himself in a rescue up in Los Angeles, and I was the lucky one to adopt him. He's a sweet little Sheltie. And I think that's another thing that kind of, talking about those heroic acts is all of the dogs we've talked about today, and cats and mini horses that are in our therapy program, and they all are kind of ambassadors for rescue animals. And when we're out and we're talking to people, when you started the conversation with people about breast cancer awareness, it also, you got to talk about Pinky and you adopting her and adopting the cats and adopting the dogs. And so these wonderful dogs get the word out there about how special rescue animals are, that you can find the perfect animal for you, whether it's an 8-week-old puppy that really needs you, or an 8-and-a-half-year-old or 11-and-a-half-year-old. And so that's what I think they're also heroic, because they open people's eyes to how fabulous adopting is.
Yes, I 100% agree. And if you can't adopt, you can foster. Now's a great time to foster with so many people working from home. And if you can't foster and if you can't adopt, then volunteering is also another really great opportunity. And you guys offer, Helen Woodward Animal Center offers all of those opportunities if anybody is interested in those. Now, you had also mentioned that bologna had been picked up in a trash bag. What could somebody do if they're thinking, I'm overwhelmed, I can't take care of my pet anymore, I can't find anybody to take care of my pet, that they're at their last resort, and obviously throwing them in a trash bag and putting them in a parking lot is not what we want people to do. What would you say people should do if they are unfortunately at that point in their lives?
Well, and the people, they'd actually left him in a carrier with a note. So
Okay.
I think you know, in the note, they had fallen on really hard times. I think they loved him very much. I think they just didn't understand how to keep him safe. So I think it's so important that you're bringing it up, because, you know, we can get overwhelmed with life. Right now, people are finding themselves out of work. And we have a wonderful program here that people can check our website called Animals Relief, where we're providing pet food and human food for people that are finding themselves, you know, unable to get what they need for their animals and themselves. But with that, you know, if people find themselves overwhelmed, you can't leave an animal. You know, he could have been attacked by coyotes here in Rancho Santa Fe. We have a lot of animals. He was left overnight in a carrier, could have been very, very unsafe for him. You know, find your local adoption agency and, you know, call them up. There's wonderful rescues here in San Diego, Helen Woodward Animal Center. There's so many groups that support animals finding their next forever home that is going to be able to take care of them and love them. So we've got to not wait till the last second when the landlord is saying, you know, you can't keep your pet for one more day. Take the time, if you know you're kind of getting into that situation, start exploring the wonderful rescue world in San Diego that can help you find that best placement for your pet.
Absolutely. And you'd mentioned the Animals program, animalcenter.org. You've got it right there on your shirt. So if you need any help, or if you know anybody that needs any help, absolutely go there. There's also programs that are available to help you if you can't afford dog food, Animals, or you can no longer, maybe you've run on tough times, or you've injured yourself and you can't walk your dog anymore. There's also organizations and programs out there that will actually help you so that you can keep your dog, because that's what we want. We want you to keep your pets. We want you to be able to be happy, because we feed off of each other. It's a bond. So they make our lives better, and hopefully we make their lives a little bit better. But I think it's a little uneven. They definitely win. They definitely brighten our days so much and bring us so much joy. So I know we only have a few minutes left, but I do want to hear from each of you. You've already told us about your amazing stories about how amazing your pets are. We've gotten to see several of them. Pinky hasn't moved much. She looks super comfortable. But tell us how your pets inspire you. And if you work with the Helen Woodward Animal Center, tell us how working there and everything that you've seen there kind of inspires you and makes you feel like a hero, and also shows us that our pets are superheroes. And we'll start with Chris. Let's start with you.
I just wanted to say that I was a participant of the Animals program. I lost my job because of COVID, and like the day COVID started, the day I lost my job, and Animals helped me tremendously through that whole time period with food for myself and food for my pets. And I just can't be like more like happy and thankful for what they did for me. It was an amazing time.
Since you've experienced it, tell us, what's it like to be on the receiving end of that? How does it work? What did you have to do? What's it like?
It was super easy. The process was super easy. I went online and I requested services through them. I put in the date that I lost my job, the place that I worked, and then they emailed me back with a time and a spot that I could come by Helen Woodward, and it's all touchless. You pull up. It was a humbling experience the first time. It was like I've never had to ask for any kind of assistance like that. So it was just, but the turnaround about it was that I didn't have to worry about one more thing. You know, it was like one less thing that I had to stress out about, and that was my pet's care and my pet's food. But this process was really easy. You just do a touchless drive-through, and they put food in the back of your car. And the first time I did it, I didn't know they put people food in. And when I got home and I opened my trunk, I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I have popcorn. It was like, you know what I mean? It was just like they put like the most amazing things in it. It was like, you know, you'd get like some of the the things that you absolutely need, but then they would throw in like popcorn or Frosted Flakes, and you'd be like, this is amazing.
That's really cool. I didn't know that they did that. So it's, and you know what, and you're going through something that's difficult. Sometimes it's hard to ask for help. You know, totally. You're like, we have pride. We have, you know, we want to be like, I can do it. What can do it? What can I do? And you know what? That's great that these programs are here, and that's pretty cool that they put in some fun things in there for you.
That was so awesome. I was like opening it up. I was like, this is awesome. This is awesome.
That's fantastic. All right, Stacy, tell us about your dogs and cats and how they inspire you. And since you work with the Helen Woodward Animal Center, anything that you've experienced there or anything that inspires you about the programs and the pets that are there?
Well, you know, working with the center, with the pet therapy program, pet encounter therapy program, has just been amazing to watch the children. We do a lot of work with kids, and to watch the kids overcome whatever else is going on just for that short moment in time to hug a cat or pet a dog or walk a dog has just been phenomenal. You know, you put your own stuff aside for a little bit, and you get to be in the moment like the animals are, and that's pretty cool. It's really, really cool. On the search and rescue end of things, there's no greater reward than to provide closure for a family. Ideally positive, but it's not always. But that's, you know, why we do it. Our job is to bring somebody home. Yeah.
When the dogs have to go through, I mean, it must be difficult as a human. I mean, we all deal with things a little bit differently. When the animals, when your dogs go through a search and rescue that doesn't have a happy outcome, do they go through any type of therapy, or what's the process afterwards for them? Because I know it has to be emotional for the people, but the dogs, how do they react?
Right, we're really good at compartmentalizing it, right? We put it aside so that we can take care of our dogs and then deal with our own issues later. With the dogs on searches that are maybe multiple days on end and they're not uncovering what they need to, they do get depressed. And so we try to set up little scenarios, and they know, they're not idiots. They know that we're messing with them, but we're just trying to keep it a happy game and remind them about the joy and the reason why they're doing it. And they do go through periods of being sad.
Yeah.
We saw that in some of our bigger disaster events, and we've seen it even locally with multi-day searches.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing that you're able to do that, and you do notice that in them. Mm-hmm. Robin, all right, so how do your little ones there inspire you, or anything from the Helen Woodward Animal Center, or any of the pets that you've seen go through there?
I mean, animals have been inspiring me my whole life. I mean, I grew up with horses and dogs, and they inspired me to come to the center and want to work here and to find my life's passion, which is the pet encounter therapy program. But I'm so proud of how the center has handled what's going on in the world right now. You know, we have all come together as animal lovers to support other animal lovers to take care of their best friends and to take care of themselves. We've been doing adoptions this entire time and taking dogs and cats from so many other rescues and shelters and animal centers that could not keep their doors open during the pandemic, and we've been taking them on. We have been doing virtual field trips and keeping kids entertained and helping them to love animals during a very difficult time for them out of school. Our Animals Relief Program, our Pet Encounter Therapy Program, where we're doing Zoom visits and critter drive-ins where people are coming in their car and we're walking horses around the car. And that's what it is animal people are just kind of the best people in the world. We take care of each other. We love each other. We give all of this love to them, and they shower us with love. And we all can be heroes for each other right now and for the animals in our lives. We all have that capacity. And that's what the center stands for.
Yeah, very, very well said. And just to add to that, not only did the Helen Woodward Animal Center do all of that, they did it like that. Like, it happened so quickly. They were able to help people out that needed it so quickly. And then I just feel like every email that I got from the Helen Woodward Animal Center, I sent to my news desk, and I was like, you guys have to do a story on this. Now they're doing this, and now they're doing this. Like, I feel like I probably annoyed them, but every single story, at least most of the stories, made it into our newscast, and it made me really happy because I think it's an outlet for people that need it. You know, some people are stuck at home all day long, and so another way for them to see these animals, even if it's through a screen or a window or whatever it is, it really does. It makes a world of difference. So I know Fernanda's back. I just want to thank the Helen Woodward Animal Center for including me again this year. I think this is an amazing, today is an example. This event is an example of what you've had to do, because I'm sure that you probably had most of this all booked out months in advance, and you had to flip it around and change it and make it virtual. And you guys have done a really fantastic job. So I'm ABC 10 News meteorologist Megan Perry. And if you're not doing anything at 11 a.m., I'll be on midday. So
Megan, it was an absolute pleasure spending the morning with you.
thank you. It was a pleasure
really.
to listen to all of you
Thank
guys.
you.
You inspire me. You are my heroes. What you guys do every day, what your pets do every single day is just an inspiration. And I 100% agree. Animal lovers are the best.
Megan, we're so grateful that you use your platform to talk about pet adoption, and you do so much for us. So we really appreciate it, and thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I'm gonna leave you guys now.
We'll let you get to work.
Yeah, I gotta go be on TV real quick. But thank you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
So we're going to take some questions that have been coming in from our viewers this morning, and you guys have said so many amazing things. I love that Pinky is just relaxing on the couch. She's been cracking me up this whole time. So Robin, maybe this is a great question for you. Can you clarify for everyone the difference between a service animal, a therapy pet, or emotional support pet?
An excellent question. So a service animal is an animal that is specifically trained to help one individual, to help them have the most successful and healthy day they can every day of their life. So that dog, that cat, that mini horse is trained to work specifically with that individual to do tasks for them. An emotional support dog is a dog that has been deemed necessary by an individual's doctor as an emotional support animal to help them to feel as happy and healthy mentally as they can. Those are quite different from service dogs in that a service dog or a service cat or a service animal is granted access anywhere in public because of those very specific tasks that that person needs from that animal. An emotional support dog is only granted access in public housing and public transportation. So that's where that is. And then with a therapy dog, these wonderful animals are trained to help tons of people to go out, to bring joy, to bring comfort, the tactile benefits of touching an animal, but they are not granted access. They are only granted access with permission of that facility. So not granted access by the government.
Perfect. I think it's so important for people to understand the different jobs that pets can have, and also how to connect with them when you see a service animal in public and things like that.
Well, and that's a good thing, because with a service dog or a service animal, you don't ever want to touch them. They are very keyed into their person. They need to be working, keeping all of that focus on helping their person. And so if you go up and talk to them, it may distract them from their job. And also, if you think about it, most people are very happy to discuss their service animal, but you may be the 50th person that came up in the grocery store. And so maybe they just want to get their Cocoa Puffs and head on home. And so just understand, if they don't have the time to explain what their animal is, that's their choice. Whereas with a therapy dog, that's what they're there for, is to be pet and enjoyed.
Absolutely. Thank you for that explanation. Stacy, maybe you can answer this one. How do I know if my pet will be fit to be a therapy animal?
Our animals go through a pretty extensive amount of testing to be therapy animals. They have to like people. They have to be calm, or at least collected in situations that may be different than a normal house pet would encounter. And there are certainly several skills that they have to be tested on before that can happen.
I think
But
one important thing to mention might be that there's different kinds of therapy pets. I know that Baloney in particular really loves connecting with seniors,
mhm.
but there's other pets who love children. So maybe if your pet is not keen on a child, then maybe a different population would be better fit.
Well, and that's where I'll throw a shout out to Robin. She is really amazing at figuring out how these animals fit the best and with what age group or what situations they're going to work well with. And she's been right on, at least in with my household, every time.
Well, and I think it's about finding the right job for that animal, the right passion for them, the right purpose. And it should be a partnership. These aren't tools to be used and then put back on the shelf. These are beautiful living animals. They should love the work. And if they don't love the work, then therapy work is not the right choice for them. But, animalcenter.org, people are welcome to reach out to me and I will help them kind of figure out if it's the right career path for their animal.
Absolutely. I think the whole reason we're having a virtual event is obviously due to COVID-19, and we've had to stay home. It's been a difficult time for so many of us. Pinky, maybe, or Chris, I'll start with you and Pinky. What's it been like for you, and how has your connection with Pinky kind of helped, especially during this COVID time?
Well, it's been nice to have someone to turn to and to have somebody be there on a daily basis and someone you can depend on. That's the only thing I have. So it's like, that's been nice. I'm just like everybody else, it's just been hard to be at home and just to quarantine yourself. And I think everybody's been doing a really good job. I think that it's like amazing to see how well this country's come together, and just going outside the other day and everybody wearing their masks and stuff. It's so nice to see that that's kind of come into play, and it's been really good. I mean, I think that I'm just like where everyone else is. I think they just want it to be over.
Yeah.
They just want to get back to life and get back to like doing the things that they're used to doing. I'm ready to go back to work.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I think we're all in the same boat that we want everyone to stay safe. But we're hoping for a light at the end of the tunnel here.
For sure.
Robin and Stacy, what's it been like personally for you guys?
Well, talking about, kind of that light at the end of the tunnel, I think that is such a beautiful kind of parallel to animals in rescue, is that when they first find themselves in those situations, they may have endured, really difficult things, come into a whole new space, people they don't know what's going on, and us all being heroes to them, we can help shepherd them to that light at the end of the tunnel, which is that forever family. And so, with what we're going through is so difficult right now, there's going to be that light on the other end. And we have to be heroes for each other and help each other to get to that other side, which is what we do for them. And, I've been so lucky that, with the center being deemed essential during COVID-19, that we have been able to find those creative new ways to reach out to our clients during this, because it is so hard. Some of the people, we just had a critter drive-in where we invited Alzheimer's San Diego to come out to our center, and we were walking alpaca and goats and sheep and horses around the cars. And for so many of the clients, that was the first time they had left their homes in over 3 months. And the isolation for the clients that we visit is so difficult. And so, I feel so lucky that we get to still connect virtually and doing all of this and still being out in the community. But there are so many people out there that the isolation is so difficult. And so, please, if there's anybody watching here that works at a community, a skilled nursing facility, at a hospital, and you'd like a Zoom visit, let me know. We can, anywhere. We just did a visit for Cleveland, Ohio. So, we want to help people not feel so isolated by this.
Yeah, I think especially for people who live alone, maybe, they only have pets.
At their side.
Yeah, it's been so important. They're a source of comfort. Stacy, what's it been like for you?
Personally, my job moved online, so I feel very grateful that that happened. That was an interesting transition when you teach people with skills to care for animals, and now suddenly you take the animals out of the picture. That was a very interesting experience. But we're returning to whatever normal is. As far as the animals go, the cats have found this quite amusing. They can have an extra little meal, and I've noticed that maybe their strollers are a little tighter as they get into them to go out for visits. And the one thing that has been the most challenging is the search dogs. The search dogs are used to going out and training 2 to 3 times a week, and suddenly now we can't do that because we haven't been able to gather, you know, with the team. So we've figured it out, and we're starting to reconnect. And now they meet up with their teammates, and it's the biggest dog party on the century because they haven't seen each other for a couple months at a time. Unfortunately, yeah, the searches have still gone on. Folks have still gone missing, but the training has been a challenge.
I think we're all appreciating, you know, those things that we maybe took for granted before, and, you know, trying to find ways to connect. So before we wrap up, I just want to hear from each of you, what is the thing that your pet does, your pets do, that just puts a smile on your face, that reminds you that, oh, they're amazing creatures and little superheroes in their own way? I'll start with you, Chris.
My favorite thing is in the morning, she gets up and she barks at the edge of my bed until I get up to feed her breakfast. But it's just like the funniest thing, because it's, no matter what time it is, it's just like, it's the best way to wake up. She just stands there and she barks, and she starts to make her like talking noise. You know, everybody knows that when they have a dog, that talking noise where they're like, I'm hungry, and they're literally saying I'm hungry. So that's like my favorite part of the day, is when she wakes me up with her barks.
I think that's awesome. I think you said the word breakfast and she kind of puckered up a little bit.
Yeah, she's like, breakfast?
Stacy?
My favorite is Dan starts off the morning breakfast campaign with a nice meow, and then he wakes up the dogs, and it just kind of snowballs from there. So.
And Robin, what is it about Henry and Baloney?
Oh gosh, with Baloney, I think the way he spins in such absolute joy when I come into the room, even at 16, he sees me and he just spins around with just so happy to see me. And also when he eats Cheerios, he's pretty adorable with that. With Henry, it's the complete adoration of his mama. You know, it's like he follows me everywhere. He always wants to be next to me. A hand accidentally drops down when I'm working on the computer. His head is right underneath it. He just gives so much love, and it's so pure.
It's amazing. Well, thank you all so much for participating this morning. You guys all have such incredible ways that we're able to share and talk about how our pets are superheroes, and animals can do amazing things for us. I think we just have to, you know, be superheroes in our own way, and notice those things because they're definitely out there. So we want to say a big thank you to all of you so much for participating this morning.
It was so much fun. Thank you so much.
And then anyone who's watching, if you joined in a little late, we will have all of the panels available also on the app if you want to tune in, or if you want to share or tune in again. And thank you so much for joining us this morning, and we'll be continuing with some more panels throughout the day. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.